guys, welcome back to my channel. If I look a little bit crazy, that is because I am going to be doing the half luminous and half matte makeup tag. I saw this video a while ago on Jaclyn Hill's channel. I believe that she is the one that invented this. And ever since I watched that video, not only did I learn a ton about what different products look like on the skin in different areas, because you saw close up how they looked on her face on the luminous side and on the matte side, but I also wanted to see how it would work for me and what products I would prefer matte and what products I would prefer luminous. So if you guys are curious to see what's going on my face, then go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is start off with primer, and I'm going to do this half of my face matte and this half of my face dewy. So let's go ahead and get started. So on the matte side of my face, I'm going to be using my NYX Angel Veil Primer. This is an oil-free primer and it's great for oil control if you have oily skin, and it's really going to mattify the skin and make sure that your makeup lasts a lot longer. And then on the luminous side of my face, I'm going to go in with this one by Becca. This is the Backlight Priming Filter, and I'm going to take a pump of that and I'm just going to go ahead and rub this in. So for the luminous half of my face, I'm going to be using my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This is in the shade 6.25, and I'm going to be blending this in with my Beauty Blender, and I'm taking about half a pump, and I'm going to go ahead and start distributing that and blending that in. Then for the matte side of my skin, I'm going to be going in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, and this is in the shade 3W1 Tawny. And I'm going to be blending this side of my face out with a brush. I'm going to be using the Sigma F83 brush. So now that foundation is on, I'm going to zoom you guys in and we can do concealer. For concealer, on the luminous side of my skin, I'm using my YSL Touche Éclat concealer, and this is in shade 3.5. And I'm going to go ahead and blend that out with my Beauty Blender. And then for the matte side of my face, I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape in light neutral. And I'm going to blend that out with the other side of my Beauty Blender. So I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to go ahead and look in the mirror to see what differences I'm noticing so far with both sides of my face. So on the matte side of my face, I'm definitely seeing a lot more coverage, which is to be expected with more mattifying products. They are going to have more coverage. The more luminous foundations are a little bit more sheared out, so you're not getting as much coverage with those products. I still do see a bit of a luminosity peeking through with this side of my skin. So the Estee Lauder Double Wear is not like a full complete matte foundation, which I'm personally not such a fan of such a super matte, but this is the most matte foundation that I own. And also the concealer is leaving a little bit of luminosity peeking through the skin as well, which is weird because we didn't put down a glowy primer by any means. So there is still a little bit of luminosity to my skin. It's not a full matte. The side with the luminous products is definitely more youthful in my opinion. They both have smoothed out my pores equally, but I do see the texture just a little bit more on the matte side of my face, as well as it is sinking into my smile lines just a little bit more. On the luminous side, it has not done that at all. You can see that there is actually less creasing on this side of my face with the luminous products than there is on the matte side. So that's all that I've noticed so far, so let's go ahead and start with the powders. On the luminous side, I'm going to go ahead and set with my Hourglass powders. I'm going to be mixing these two shades from the palette, and this is a Spotlight Duster from Sigma, and I'm just very lightly going to run this powder all over this side of my face. And for the matte side, I'm going to be using my Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in shade number 2 by Charlotte Tilbury. This does have a little bit of color to it, so it's going to add just a drop of coverage, but I want to try out something different to the Laura Mercier translucent powder, so we're going to use this today. So most of the luminosity that was peeking out before has pretty much gone away now that we've set the foundation. You can see a little bit here on the highest points of my cheekbone, but other than that it is gone. But on my luminous side you definitely do see luminosity across the whole side of my face. On the matte side you can definitely see a lot more emphasis with my fine lines underneath my eyes. You do not notice them as much on the luminous side. You are also more drawn to the peach fuzz on my face on my matte side because the powders kind of are sitting on them and you can kind of like notice them a little bit more. On the luminous side you cannot detect them at all. I don't notice that either side is drawing more attention to the texture on my forehead quite yet, but that may change a little bit later as we're adding more products. For bronzer on my more luminous side, I'm going to be using this Tarte heart-shaped one. So this bronzer is shimmery throughout, but it's not a glittery shimmer. And then for my matte side, I'm going to go in with my Hoola Bronzer by Benefit. So I personally like the matte bronzer situation better than the shimmer. While this does give a beautiful luminosity to the skin, I don't find that it sculpts the cheeks as much as a matte bronzer does. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a shimmery highlight to the luminous side. I'm going to be using Fuego from the Desi and Katie collab with Dose of Colors. And I am just going to go ahead and place a bunch where I would normally place highlighter. And I've been liking to put a little bit on like the apples of my cheeks also. And then on the matte side of my face, I'm taking my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I'm going to mix these two lighter shades and I'm just going to add a little bit of a matte highlight to the skin over here. Next up for the eyes, I'm going to be taking my Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette, and I thought that that was fitting because that's where I got the idea for this video for. And I'm just going to be taking a bunch of shimmery shades and putting it on this side and a bunch of matte shades and putting it on this side. I'm going to go ahead and do the matte eye first because once I get shimmer on this brush, it's going to be transferred to the other eye. So I'm just going to take a bunch of neutral brown shades. I'm not going to try and make this pretty or anything, but I'm just going to go ahead and place them in the crease. So what I'm going to do for the colors on both eyes is I'm going to do some browns in the crease and then a lighter shade on the lid. So I'm going to be doing a matte shadow right in the center of this eye, and I put some browns in the crease, and I'm going to do all shimmers with the same colors on the other eye. So right away I'm noticing, by the way, that shimmer shades are harder to blend out. Oh my god. I also wouldn't recommend putting shimmers in your crease because it reflects the light differently as you're turning and it doesn't look even or smooth. And then I'm going to do a matte shadow as a highlight on this brow bone, and then I'm going to do a shimmery one on the other eye. So, update, I absolutely dislike this eye over here with the shimmers all over the place, especially in the crease. I really don't like it. It's just too much. I feel like there's not enough differentiation between colors. There's nothing to break it up. It kind of just all... It just looks a little bit messy, again, because the reflex and the shimmers kind of reflect everywhere and it just looks a little bit too overwhelming. So I would definitely break it up with the matte shade, and I personally love an all matte eye look. So why not? I'm going to go ahead and do some liner as well. I have a glitter liner to do on my luminous side and I have a matte black to do on my matte side. So on the matte side of my lips, I'm going to be using No Shade by Desi and Katie in Dose of Colors. And then on the luminous side, I'm going to be using this lipstick by YSL in the shade 1. I thought they were going to be more similar in shade, but they're not. I'm going to go over the luminous side with a gloss. For blush today, on my matte side, I'm going to be using this Tarte one. This is in the shade Party. And I'm going to go ahead and place that on. And then on the luminous side, I'm going to take this one by Terry. This one is shade Sun Desire. And then that is it. So this is the matte side of my face complete. And this is the shimmer side of my face complete. So obviously the luminous side of my face became a bit of fun, especially with the glitter liner on the eyes. That's not something that I would typically do, but all in all, I do like the look of the matte side of my face a lot better. I do see that there is less exaggeration when it comes to texture, because on the luminous side of my skin, wherever I did put a shimmery highlighter, bronzer, or blush, you do see a lot more of the texture on my skin. Especially over here on the brow bone highlight, you see like where all of my hairs are starting to grow back in where I pluck my brows. I also am not a fan of shimmer on the eyes pretty much at all. A lot of the time I'll only do a little bit of shimmer on the lid, but in the crease is always matte, and the majority of the time I do an all matte eye look. I'm finding that the matte side of my face as a whole looks a lot more sculpted and a lot more put together. The more luminous side of my face looks a little bit more, I don't want to say round, but it doesn't look as chiseled. Like this side of my face definitely looks a lot slimmer than this one, and it looks a lot more lifted than this one. I think moving forward, I wouldn't do a full matte look. I would definitely want a little bit more luminosity on the cheeks, and I would maybe add that in with a blush. But I definitely like the look of my skin without a highlighter on the tops of my cheekbones, because you can see the texture, and I definitely like more of a matte bronzer on the skin rather than a shimmer. I'm actually surprised at how much I like the look of both of the foundations. Like, I don't have a problem with either or. I would definitely go with a matte or a luminous depending on the longevity that I want my foundation to last. It doesn't bother me look-wise. Like, one does not look more cakey or the other, and the settling in the fine lines is not bad enough that I would stop using a matte foundation. Like, it's so subtle, and I always get settling in my fine lines, so that's not like a make it or break it for me. I definitely feel like the matte side of my face has set down a lot more. Like, there is no tackiness at all and zero transfer. On the luminous side, there is still a little bit of tackiness, but it's not so bad. Like this one, like there's a bit of a pull when I'm trying to rub my hand across my face, but this one is a lot smoother. So you guys can see it kind of like pulls. This side is a lot smoother. So I think that that is all that I have to say for this video. I hope that you guys found it interesting and informative. If you did enjoy it, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.